Welcome to la Biennale Musica. Ladies and gentlemen, we kindly ask you to switch off your mobile phones and refrain from taking photos and any form of audio or video. Please keep your face mask on, also during the performance. Thank you for your collaboration.
Is the funds at Origo, especially here in Venice, but it's where all music comes from. I think the way I think of it in terms of how composers are using the voice today, and especially the way that someone like Kaija Saariaho has used the voice, is that it's the most resonant and empathetic bridge that we all have as human beings.
We can, of course, discuss the intellectual content of the words, but the moment we need to create a space where we can share the words, we need to go look for it very deep in our own bodies, where it's seated under the diaphragm. So I'm fascinated on stage with that phenomenon that allows one body to feel a space through the art of the voice, the athleticism of the voice.
Human voice for me is an endless world of discoveries, because there's so many potential for expression, for ideas, not only musical, by the way, that you're all the time discovering new forms of using the voice, new forms of ways of expressing ideas that would be impossible just by words.
The voice is also an instrument, and not only interpreting a text. And this instrument, with these many differences and with very subtle possibilities, is a very, very interesting one. It's also very fragile, because it's not like a stable instrument, because it's in a human body, and it has to deal with all the fragilities of a human body.
To know that this bridge of empathy and feeling has been resounding as long as there have been human beings on the planet, and therefore as long as music has been made, it's the most fundamental thing that all of us have as listeners, as people.
Dal punto di vista musicale, la voce è uno strumento che noi abbiamo all'interno del nostro corpo, e contrariamente a un violinista che quando ha finito di lavorare, o un chitarrista elettrico, ripone il suo strumento in una custodia, noi torniamo a casa oppure semplicemente finiamo il concerto e non abbiamo nessuna custodia dove riporre la nostra voce. E questo fatto è straordinario, cioè il nostro strumento ce lo portiamo dietro, la custodia siamo noi, il nostro corpo è la custodia della nostra voce.
The voice is on the one hand an instrument for communication, for making art, making music, but on the other hand, it's not only an instrument, but it's a very, very personal thing. And these two aspects interfering with each other is the main thing I am interested in working and dealing with the human voice singing.
The voice is our first instrument and our last instrument. And also it was maybe first instrument for human beings in the world.
La voce è stato il primo segno esogamico, cioè che è uscito dal corpo, la prima protesi, se vogliamo, tecnologica, che a un certo punto ha sicuramente articolato dei segnali che acquisivano senso per i suoi comuni abitatori di quella comunità, di quella società.
Walking with human voice means always to walk with ambivalence, and I try to create alphabet of signs, alphabet of sounds, and mix these whole dimensions, using the memory of tradition and spontaneity of now and here.
For me, singing is about exploration of yourself. When people sing, it's just like playing an instrument, or even more primordial. You deal with who you are, you can hear it in the voice. People strive to express themselves, to figure out who they are, to frame themselves, to develop their personalities through the voice. And so for me, that's what singing really is. It's a window into the self.
On a purely biological, or I should say neurological level, the voice has a really privileged position because it's considered to be more powerful than other sound sources. And I think when we see people on stage, whether they're speaking or singing, our brains instantly, without even us being able to think about it, our brains focus in on that as the most important part of what's going on.
Now, I tried to make Kyle sound as funky as possible. There are options in the Kyle vector space for this. I paired him with beats like disco funk, drop the funk, get your funky party on, but it just didn't work.
Pour moi, le travail de la voix, en général, à travers la musique, c'est fondamental, c'est le plus bel instrument. Et c'est le moment où j'ai les plus beaux frissons. La voix est l'instrument le plus finalisé, me semble-t-il. Et c'est sur lequel on peut, je crois, aussi travailler le plus profondément.
Rai, Radio 3.
Buongiorno da Giovanni Bietti, benvenuti. Siamo questa volta in questo piccolo ciclo di lezioni di musica, siamo in diretta, siamo dal vivo a Venezia, dalla Biennale Musica, e siamo nella meravigliosa Sala delle Colonne di Ca' Giustinian. Il tema del festival di quest'anno, questo ciclo di lezioni di musica, è Chorusis, ossia la coralità, e l'idea è di andare alle radici, alle origini della coralità veneziana.
diverse persone cantano insieme, non importa se siano canzoni popolari o musica contemporanea, c'è sempre un flusso di energia che è diverso di quando si suona uno strumento. E soprattutto alla Basilica, il coro di Marco Germani, quando cantavano insieme, c'era proprio come un'onda di comunicazione tra loro. Io trovo che questo non sia con nessuno strumento, sia soltanto con la voce.
Gli spazi che Venezia mette a disposizione sono spazi particolari, che hanno delle caratteristiche acustiche assolutamente uniche. Vi faccio subito l'esempio più importante, più citato di queste caratteristiche specifiche degli spazi veneziani, che è la Basilica di San Marco.
È importante che questo passato, presente e futuro siano anche all'interno di un festival, anche all'interno di una realtà performativa, sempre uniti, sempre in sovrapposizione costante, perché l'ascoltatore, anche l'ascoltatore che non conosce la storia della musica, percepisce questa storia.
Il Leone d'Argento del 65° Festival Internazionale di Musica Contemporanea viene attribuito ai magnifici 7 dell'ensemble vocale Neue Vokalsolisten.
I Neue Vokalsolisten sono il più importante e rappresentativo ensemble vocale dedito alla musica contemporanea. Un ensemble composto da 7 solisti eccezionali, le cui interpretazioni si distinguono per teatralità e efficacia drammaturgica, lasciando emergere la peculiarità di ogni voce e la forte personalità di ogni componente del gruppo.
This prize means a lot for us in many aspects. It's the prize of the Biennale di Venezia, the city of Luigi Nono, who was the most important composer during the first 15 years of our work.
Io dico sciusciuta che
Look at the camera. You can smile if you want. Feel free. Scatto.
On ne se taira plus, on ne se taira plus, on ne se taira plus, on ne se taira plus.
Les femmes ne sont pas des proies.
La parola non dice, la parola suona. E quindi la fascinazione per le proteste con cui ho scelto di lavorare viene da lì in realtà, perché per tutte loro la parola è la parola detta, è quella dell'oralità.
Leur collage, autant de cris ravaudés, autant de
sororité partout.
Tu es fort, tu es forte.
Per me la cosa più interessante è aver sentito acusticamente, anche quando sembrava esserci silenzio, il muoversi delle persone che continuavano ad aggiustarsi. E quindi questo spazio che perennemente si muove, è come se questo spazio in realtà avesse densità diverse.
I am the voice of the petitioner, dearest, who was once of earth.
We migrate, sometimes without hope or help.
Where do good people come from? And how do they come to disappear?
We flee from destroyed homes to homelessness, scatter from exile to exile. Our children are born into rapture and unbelonging. The globe is wet with lines of demarcation. The globe is carpeted with welcome mats.
But you do not hear. You do not look back, but keep walking.
Scendiamo da questa torre in silenzio.
Olokun, ruler of all the waters, count these petitioners among your children.
Je m'appelle Sibylla, mais mon nom pourrait être aussi bien Sophie, Paula, Adèle ou Virginie.
All my works have some kind of dramaturgy, musical dramaturgy. I had the feeling how frail the human life is, how fragile it is, and then maybe that brought this musical dramaturgy. What comes to the colors, that the people often say that I'm using special colors in my music, they are not a part of my writing. They are a natural part of my writing, and I never liked the idea of making all these extended techniques for their sake. They must have a reason of being there. The music that comes from us, it expresses all our feelings and experiences, even if the composition is very intellectual work as well.
When we're together at singing, we're resounding with each other, and I think whenever that happens, we're understanding a little bit more about each other, and we're also doing that most astounding thing that music can do, which is allow us as individuals simultaneously to feel that we are absolutely realised, never more excited, never more fully human than when we're part of these bigger groups, raising our voices together, and yet we are part of that bigger idea, that bigger project. We can't do it on our own, we need each other.
I wrote a piece a couple of years ago called Potentio Multitudinis, which comes from Spinoza and the idea of the act of people singing together. There's a power in the multitude, but that power has to be subject to right action. And so you hope when people get together to sing that right action is the result.
When we are singing together, it's not possible that we are not hearing to the others. So it's part of our communication. So we have to interact with other singers, with other musicians, because otherwise we get not right in tune. We have to get together right in tune. So we have to listen and we have to act. And especially for singing in a choir, this is so much in the foreground. And so for our characters and for our living together, it's for me the most important thing what we have.
Singing together is related to me first to listening, actually. Listening to the other, creating a common shared space and tuning in, finding a common tuning for the people who are doing this together as a community.
Take a dream, take a
a call, take a powerful lot. Take a right, take a wrong, tell me this just cannot. Take a root, take a cause, this can't be changed. Take a false, take a sauce, we'll win now again. Pick a day, pick a time, pick a Friday, we go. Pick it now, be the moment, tomorrow, no.
This installation is a dialogue between voices and white noise, essentially. The two kinds of material, the first is sort of deconstructed fragments of choral music.
I'm making this piece which is combined by the different plays of Venice, which all contains the water sound, and you will be led by the travel by a trip in the gondola to explore the Tomato Square, explore the canal, and explore the seaside.
Potrei...
Benvenuti a tutti, siamo alla cerimonia della consegna del Leone d'Oro alla carriera. Benvenuta Kaia Saariaho, a raccogliere l'affetto e il riconoscimento che le tributiamo attraverso il direttore artistico Lucio Ronchetti.
Kaia Saariaho è uno dei compositori contemporanei più eseguiti e riconosciuti del mondo. La luce è l'elemento che la musica di Kaia Saariaho evoca costantemente, attraverso la creazione di texture musicali ondulatori e pulsanti che si illuminano, scintillano, esplodono, per poi oscurarsi e svanire, creando un percorso che coinvolge il senso e il processo dell'ascolto.
I thank you warmly for this Golden Lion that I'm happy to receive, because it is connected to Venice and its musical tradition. Also, Lucia Rocchetti's theme for this year's festival, choruses, voices, is of course very close to my heart and gives this prize a special meaning.